So Arc Raiders is finally here, and I'm sure plenty of you guys have been playing it a bunch, just like I have on stream. And we finally get to see exactly what Arc Raiders is all about outside of Tech Test 2 and what sort of staying power the game is going to have now that the honeymoon phase is starting to end. And one thing's for sure, it really seems like Embark Studios, they really dialed into what exactly went wrong with so many other extraction shooters over the last couple of years. Listen to those communities on some of the things that they would have liked to see, a lot of the dislikes with those individual games, and have applied it to Arc Raiders to avoid a lot of those issues in their game, especially at release. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing those things that I feel Arc has done really well that a lot of other games just fall flat on, especially in the extraction shooter genre. First, let's talk about the VoIP system. Arc has absolutely nailed this, and a lot of games these days are afraid to include it, especially in the extraction shooter genre, because they are afraid of toxicity. Oh, good job. I'm just bad, you know. What the hell? What is that thing called?
The Venom.
Oh yeah, okay, all right.
Don't talk to me, man. I feel bad.
No, don't listen, dude. You should feel bad. You know, you're better at me than this. You know, I'm just trying to play. I'm just trying to play a quick game of work before I put the kids to bed. You know what I mean? No, I'm just kidding. It's fine. I killed a couple people recently. If that makes you feel better. Yeah, sure. Why not? I'll do you a solid. You're a nice guy.
I love you.
Yeah, no problem. Here, I'll even close the door for you. You know what I mean? While you just pick through.
Oh my god. Just don't look at me.
Yeah, I'm looking right in your eyes. Right in your eyes, bud.
God.
And not only did they include it, they also doubled down on it to make one of the most impressive VoIP systems that I've ever heard in pretty much any game to date. Volumetric audio bouncing off of the cliffs, through canyons, inside closed doors. It just sounds exactly like the raiders that you're playing whenever you use the manual voice commands. They even added the experimental addition of changing your voice to sound exactly like your raider or as close to it as possible inside the audio section, so you can mask your voice when talking to other people or at least roleplay as the raider that you are deploying as. In addition to the VoIP, they also have really clear squad audio, so if you're going to be randomly queuing up with other people, you're going to be getting Discord quality audio communication built directly into the game. This is extremely important because it adds so many layers to the gameplay, from people actually role-playing as the raiders deploying onto the surface, from meeting random strangers in solo queues and actually doing your quests together and fighting against the Arc or even PvPing together, saving other people with defibrillators during PvP, or having conversations with downed raiders and you learn that they're not that bad of a guy and you can actually work with them, or at the very least have a cheeky conversation before you punch them in the skull and send them back down to the inn. And this is something that I've personally been wrong about with Escape from Tarkov. I didn't think VoIP was going to be good for the game, and I could not have been more wrong. And I'm very happy to see that Embark has been paying attention and decided to make such a really cool system in their game. It's actually gotten to the point where people are on social media complaining that Arc Raiders is too friendly in solo queues, which is quite interesting. I think that will die down as the days and weeks go on, but it is still a good problem to have, I think, at least initially. Next on the list of things that Arc Raiders has done exceptionally well, and that is the downing system. This is obviously not new in the gaming industry. We've been doing that in BR games for the last 10 years, but in Arc Raiders, they've done it in a really great way because in addition to just downing enemy teammates, you're also able to just down solos. There is no difference between downing a solo player, a duo, or a trio. Everybody acts exactly the same. They get popped, their raider flare flies up into the sky, and then they're crawling around trying to get to the extraction, which leads me to the point of you are actually able to extract while downed, which is a unique feature to Arc Raiders that has not really been done before, and it is done exceptionally well. This is important because there's going to be plenty of times that firefights are going to be happening in the extraction area, and sometimes you don't want to exit camp. You actually feel bad about eliminating somebody else because you don't want them to kill you. A lot of the times you can down an enemy, have a good conversation, get them to crawl into the extraction, and both of you guys can leave the raid in a friendly manner because that is on the table. Or if you are getting exit camped, you make it into the extraction, you're able to call the extraction elevator, or depending on what map, the metro, and get out of there. It is very impressive, and it will save you from a massive amount of frustration. And like I said, it's not really something that you see in extraction shooters, and I think it is done so freaking well. Next up is talking about PvE. Now, this is something that is a little controversial in the Arc Raiders community right now, especially on social media. People are complaining that the Arc is way too difficult, and it's just, not making the game fun for PvP players that just want to go out there hunting other raiders. I think when it comes to other extraction shooters that have been coming out over the last couple of years, they definitely didn't put that much value into making good and compelling PvE threats and focused far too much attention purely on PvP. And what ends up happening is you create this really shallow game that is literally just one person versus the other, and there's nothing else that's really spicing things up, that's making things interesting. You don't really have to strategically think about how you're going to be moving through a valley to avoid detection from arc snitches, or if there's a spider bot nearby, or if rocketeers are protecting an extraction in those games. These are really big things you have to worry about. And also the fact that a lot of the extremely difficult to kill AI in Arc Raiders also provides you with some of the best experience and some really good loot, either loot that you need to craft other components, you need for hideout upgrades, or just selling it straight to the traders for some pretty big gains. If you know the strategies on eliminating the Arc in efficient ways, then it definitely makes it worth your time to do so, even if it puts yourself at considerable risk to other players attacking you. It's all part of the multi-layered strategy of this game, and that's why it's so important to have compelling AI and PvE threats, things that players can focus on, not just killing other players, because it all just makes the entire package feel more cohesive and important. And not only that, it also does world building, which is really important, adds to that immersion level. Like, you want to stalk through a building, you got to worry about ticks and cameras and security. You don't want to be making too much noise, which noise is a huge component to Arc Raiders, right? Not stepping on any birds, setting off car alarms, seeing security cameras, and all of those affect how the PvP react to a region. If you hit a security camera, then a snitch bot from far away is going to come and investigate. These are all really important parts of what makes Arc's PvE threats pretty much unique and stand on their own. Next, let's talk about valuing your time as a gamer. This is really, really, really important, and one of the things Escape from Tarkov doesn't do very well at all. So you're not going to be waiting in queues for 5-10 minutes. You're basically getting near immediate queue times. At most, you're going to be waiting for like 1 or 2 minutes max. If you don't have any kits to build, or if you want to do a scav raid, the free kits are immediately available. You can play out your match. There's a clear rags to riches with it. If you survive a game, you can trade the free augment for a looter Mark 1 or a combat Mark 1 at the clinic, so you can start upgrading your character from there. Or if you want to continue to just play free loadouts, you can. There's no limit on how many times you can queue with a free loadout. Now, mind you, you're only going to be getting some basic level 1 guns and supplies, but still, you're just able to play as much as you want, and you don't have to worry about anything at all. Maybe you're having a bad day at PvE or PvP. Maybe you're just not feeling it. You want to do a quick run looking for scrap metal or something like that. You just click on the free loadout and bam, you're right in the game. And also, when it comes to crafting or upgrading your workbench, if you have all the materials that you need to upgrade a workbench station, you just click upgrade and bam, it's done. If you want to upgrade a gun, it's immediate. If you want to craft some materials in your hideout, you gather the materials. That's the time sink. You craft the object, you get it right away. This is something that Escape from Tarkov needs to do better on, especially the recent hardcore wipe. Imagine what it would have been like with no flea market, but way more crafting available to the player that respects their time, and crafting was immediate and instant. I think it would have been a completely different experience, that's for sure. The last thing that I want to talk about that Embark really did a good job on is the solo capable gameplay experience. It's really, really important when it comes to games like Arc Raiders and Escape from Tarkov, and here's why. Whenever you load into a match, you don't really know exactly what you're going to be getting into. This is very important for replayability, that immersive factor, and just overall fun, in my opinion. There are so many games, most recently the Marathon playtest, where the game forces you, or at least it feels like it. Like, they don't really force you. Like, you can solo queue and fight 3-man squads all the time. But let's be honest, that's not fun, right? So there's a lot of games that do the 3-man comp all the time. And like, I don't think they really understand how extraction shooters work whenever they set up that format. Now with Arc Raiders, it's similar in some ways. You can have squads up to 3 players that can queue into all these different matches, but it weights the player count against other people in the matchmaking queue. So if you are a solo player and you want to play Arc Raiders on your own, it will try to prioritize you against other solo players as much as possible, but it is not a guarantee. There are times that you will run into duos. There are times that you might rarely run into a trio. How exactly that works, like if there's a hidden system that bases your gear value off of the average gear value of the duo or the 3-man squad or what have you, I don't know those details, but it is possible for you to be running into some groups from time to time. But for the most part, you'll be bumping into mainly other solo players or players that have met each other in game with the VoIP system and have teamed up. When you eliminate another player, everything is exactly the same. There's no instant death that happens whenever you kill a solo. That's a big thing that other games do for some reason. They're thinking, hey, this person doesn't have any teammates. Why does he have to stand there and wait for the other person to go and execute him? He should instantly die. Well, the reasoning behind that is that gives information to the enemy player that this person doesn't have a group and therefore they are freely able to loot them. In Arc Raiders, it doesn't work that way. You are downed like every other person. You shoot a Raider flare like every other person. Even though that you're grouped up, it doesn't necessarily feel like that all the time. So there's that level of unpredictability, a feeling of uncertainty in most PvP fights. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of Tarkov-esque. It might be one of the first games that really gets it, similar to Escape from Tarkov. They have that same vibe. You don't know exactly what you're going to get into match after match, and that is incredibly important for long-term replayability. In my honest opinion, games that are out there that force you to be in a 2 or 3-man squad, the game can't function with you solo queuing, and it's an extraction shooter, it's gonna die. It's not gonna work. It just means that the game is a failure from a game development perspective. I'm talking about you, Marathon. You guys need to figure that out like a dev at Bungie would ever watch this video, right? But it's true. It's like one of the biggest takeaways from playing Marathon. Marathon seems like it's set up in a very similar way to Arc Raiders. It feels like it's set up in a very similar way. So like, why do they feel so different from each other? And I feel like this video will help you or me or whoever's watching this better understand what those differences are and what sets those games apart, what sets it closer to Escape from Tarkov. Love or hate Escape from Tarkov, that's the game that created this format. It's the model that a lot of these game developing companies are starting to copy and take notice of and trying to improve on, right? So in my honest opinion, I can confidently say that Arc Raiders is finally a game that has improved on the Escape from Tarkov extraction shooter model. It might be the first time that I can say that any game has actually done that. Now, is there anything that I don't like about Arc Raiders? And there is one thing specifically, and that is moving through the menus. So going from the trader to the workshop to the weapon upgrades, all that kind of stuff could be a bit streamlined. For example, if you want to upgrade a weapon that requires mechanical components, those mechanical components can be built in the refiner. In the refiner, you need to have metal scrap. So if you have enough metal scrap to make the component on the upgrade screen, you should be able to just right-click that component and craft it right there instead of moving through all the menus. stuff like that. That's the biggest issue from my perspective with Arc Raiders. That's pretty much it at this point in time. I'm sure in a couple of days or weeks, I'll probably have a longer list of things that I would like to see change with the game. But as it stands right now, building out your kits and moving through the trader and workshop management system, like all of that stuff, that's just the clunkiest part of the game for me so far. Well, thank you guys so much for listening and watching this video. If you are new here, please consider subscribing. I live stream Monday through Friday starting around 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on YouTube and mainly on Twitch, twitch.tv/DeadlySlob. I'll be playing a lot of Arc Raiders up until November 15th when Escape from Tarkov 1.0 comes out, but I'll be honest, I feel like it's going to be really difficult for me to sink my teeth in Escape from Tarkov with Arc Raiders feeling this good right now. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Take it easy, everybody.